Welcome to the Joy Work Show, the podcast that goes beyond the surface of business right to the heart to explore the real joy and the stories behind success, not just the moments of celebration, but the challenges that pave the way for them. Hiya, I'm Diane, and on this podcast, we know that joy isn't just about the good times. Often the greatest joy comes right after the greatest challenge. Today, we're talking to somebody about topics that blend creativity, sustainability, and business. And I love the surprising topics that come up when we have guests on that you would never believe what their business is, what they are building, and the conversations that come out of it. And today's guest has built a business around gift wrapping. But this isn't just about pretty paper and ribbons. My guest, Eve Cale, has built a business around making gift giving more meaningful, sustainable, and let's face it, is there anything more joyful than giving somebody a gift? Eve is a self-employed entrepreneur who took her passion for beautifully wrapped gift and turns it into a thriving business. We talk about her journey into self-employment, the unexpected lessons from network marketing, and why sustainability and gift giving matters more than ever. From customer experience to personal growth, mindfulness to eco-friendly wrapping techniques, this conversation is packed with insights for business owners and creatives alike. Quite a few surprises thrown in there, as always. So whether you're running a business, love a good gift-giving moment, or just want to hear from someone who turned their passion into profit, this one's for you. As always, it's so much better to hear it in their own words. So let's go. Hi Eve, and welcome to the Joy Work Show. I am so delighted you are joining me today, and I can't wait to get talking because I think the topics that we're going to talk about today is probably something a little bit different for what the listeners have heard from the podcast so far. So welcome, and tell us who you are, what you do, and how you got here.
Having me on your podcast. My name's Eve Cale and I run a business called Gift Wrapped by Eve. I've been self-employed since my maternity leave, basically. So my children are now 13 and 10, and that's the reason that I started working for myself. So yes, how far do I want to go back?
As far as you like. So when you went self-employed, what was it? It comes up so often in this podcast that what the trigger was for self-employment, starting your own business. And for so many women, it is the birth of their children. For me, it was the birth of my second child. That made me jump, was the catalyst for me. So what was it at that time?
So going back, so my son is 13, so this is going back quite a way now. So my job before I fell pregnant was in marketing, and I worked in financial services marketing, and the job was quite long hours and quite high pressured. And after although there was some level of flexibility offered, I knew that with my commute as well and my husband's job, between the two of us, somebody had to be more flexible, and that was me.
Yeah.
So I knew that I wanted to make sure that I was around, and at that point, I didn't feel like returning to what I'd been doing before was going to be compatible with what I wanted. That said, I don't think that naturally just being at home was 100% what I wanted to do, but I knew that I didn't want to compromise on the childcare side of things.
Yeah.
So I kind of fell into self-employment, to be honest, because I was at home and I decided to take this career break. I was doing this sort of rounds of all the toddler groups in my local area, and I stumbled across somebody who had a stall at the toddler group who was selling cards and stationery. And I've always been somebody who loves sending cards, choosing gifts for people, and So I was really excited to find this stall. You know, it's hard when you've got a little one to get out to the shops. I was really used to going shopping in my lunch hour. This is obviously, you know, this is going back quite a way. So it wasn't, obviously there was shopping online, but shopping for that kind of thing online wasn't really what, you know, there wasn't really a market for it. Well, there was a market for it, but nobody was really offering it. So actually finding a little stall at the Toddler Group was really fantastic. So I took the catalogue home and I had a look through it. And quite unlike me, really, I just I was flicking through it and realised on the back of the brochure that it said that you could do it too. You can do this too. And so I thought, well, I think it was £30 to register as an agent, a trader. And I thought, wow, I'm going to spend more than that on cards, you know, alone this year. So I may as well just sign up. So, and that was the beginning of my self-employment journey. So that was back in 2012. So the company was a network marketing company. And yeah, so I started my cards and stationery business. Yeah, just like that. I was like, okay, I'll just have a go. But I didn't really, to be honest, get started with actually running it as a business for quite some time. You know, I was in the throes of looking after a little one. It took me a little while to see actually there was a lot of opportunity to grow and develop and actually use all of those skills that I'd had in my career actually working for myself. So that was the beginning of the journey. And I worked my way up. If any of your listeners know about network marketing, there's different elements. There's the retailing side, there's a team building side. I managed to do I had a team. I really enjoyed the retailing side of things. But the company was predominantly known for greetings cards, but they also had other stationery products, including gift wrap. And I realised that actually one of the unique sides of the business was that things were made in the UK and they were eco-friendly. And actually, I realised that although people knew us well for the cards, they didn't know us so well for the gift wrap. And if I actually showed people the quality of the products and what to do with them, then they would buy more.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not ashamed to say that. That was my thinking because I thought, well,
That's marketing. That's you putting your marketing head on and you're making sure that you can deliver what your customers want and need.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and, you know, as I was also conscious that actually I wanted to some extent, stand out from other people because the benefit of being in network marketing is that the products are the same. You don't have to think about that side of things. But actually, I realised that actually by doing something slightly different to what other people were doing, I would sort of stand out a bit. So I started to show people how to use the products. So since 2018, I've been running workshops, show people what to do. Yeah. So that was 2018. But then then later on the COVID years happened.
Yep, the
And
COVID
I
years.
realised there's this whole online world that I'd not really thought about, and realised there was so much more that I could do with showing people how to use things, but actually online. I could reach lots more people online as well as in person. So I had this sort of idea about what I might do with that side of things, but the network marketing company was still there, and my children were still quite small, and so I sort of carried on doing a little bit with that side of the business, but continuing with the network marketing business. However, then in 2023, the company announced closure. Now, I had actually considered what I might do if this eventuality happened, because during the time I've been working with them, there had been the first company actually went into administration, and then a very similar company was formed shortly afterwards, and I was working with them. So I had the experience of losing in the business. So in my back of my mind, I kind of thought, well, if this does happen, then I think I've actually got a plan. I think I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do. And so that eventuality did happen. And so I decided to focusing just on gift wrapping, and that's when my business, as it currently is, was born. So yeah, so Gift Wrapped by Eve, I've been doing under my own steam for the last 18 months, and yeah, it's very exciting and also nerve-wracking all at
Yep.
the same time.
Do you know what's so lovely about it though? It's you're tapping into like a passion of yours. And I think if anybody follows Eve, or if you're going to go and follow Eve after this podcast, you will see that you truly believe in your products. And I think that's where, whether you come up through network marketing, whether you come up through traditional business, whether you have, you know, a craft business that is your passion and you decide to start taking it seriously and turn it into a business, then I think that is what makes the difference between somebody who can make a success of those situations. Because network marketing gets a really bad rap.
It
Yeah,
does.
gets a
Yeah.
really bad rap. And but for me, it's the same as every other industry. I actually did a podcast that came out on Monday about my background in direct sales and cold calling and my thoughts on things. And I don't believe that there's a bad industry. I believe there is bad practices. And I believe there is bad morals and bad ethics, and people can have their opinions on what they think that is. But network marketing gets a bad rap. But what I think is great about network marketing, and the same as my background in direct sales, and quite often when I say direct sales, I think people think
Yeah.
network marketing, but it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
within the private sector in the UK. But what is so good is it opens up opportunities for people that they wouldn't have had otherwise, whether that's an opportunity from background, whether it's an opportunity from geography, whether it's an opportunity from knowledge, skills, or even belief that they can have. You know, there is class issues in business, that people who have a self-belief that they can start a business, like you said, it took you a little while to start taking it seriously and start thinking about this as something that could actually be a business for me, because we're not naturally born with that belief of, it's almost that thing of, how dare I think
Yes.
that I can have a business?
I think it's really fascinating actually, because if you go back to, I found my record of achievement while I was doing a bit of sorting out. I don't know if anybody else listening had that maroon book
I did.
and
I
wrote
did.
things. Anyway, I had written in it that I wanted to run my own business, and which is really fascinating because I've no idea where I kind of got this idea from. And I didn't go away and do that, but I think what network marketing allowed me to do was to do the sort of the playing at having a business initially, because it's so low risk.
That's it. And it's like it is a business in a box in a way. They give you the marketing, you're not going out there to source the product. We can be entrepreneurial without being like inventors and without being product people and that type of thing. We can have that entrepreneurial spirit. And I believe that the direct sales industry, and therefore the network marketing industry, has lots of people with that entrepreneurial spirit and that entrepreneurial belief. And quite often the network marketing or the direct sales is the platform that they use to then have that, make the income and make the money and learn the skills and the knowledge that they can then have freedom of choice to then go and do the other things that they've always dreamt about doing. You know, nobody grows up saying, I really want a job in network marketing. I really want a job in a call center. But they are platforms to get you to get the knowledge, get the skills, get the income, get that to then think, actually, I now have the belief that I am good enough to go and do these things, So I love that you've brought the network marketing conversation to the table. I love that you make it part of your story. I was a little bit shy about making direct sales a part of my story because I'm a silly Billy. And yeah, I think it's really important that that comes to the table. And I love that it's something that is lovely, like cards and gift wrap.
I know, I do feel really like so happy that I can run a business that's just about something joyful and that's fun. There's lots of doom and gloom out there, isn't there?
Isn't there just?
It's really lovely to have found something that that can bring joy. So that's really I'm so fortunate to have found that and to be making it.
So a huge part of what you now do is sustainability and eco-friendly. So when did that come into play, and how did that come into play for you?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. The products I was selling as part of the network marketing business had that as a key benefit, that they were sourced in the UK and eco-friendly, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. I think we're making changes in lots of areas of our lives, small changes to help us along that journey. Perhaps you've changed your cleaning products. Perhaps you're not using plastic bags anymore. Those kind of small switches. Perhaps you're thinking about the kind of food that you buy. So I thought, well, why does gift giving need to be any different? What can we do that are really changes, and I'm going to incorporate them into what I do as well. So a lot of what I do is just about showing people when you know about them, they're really obvious. They're really obvious things, but actually they're the small changes that everybody can do um, without too much effort, really. And a lot of people making a small change is going to have far bigger impact than one person saying that they're just going to wrap in newspaper, for example.
That's
And I'm kind of somewhere in between, really. So there's lots of so there's if you think all gift wrapping's the same, it's not. I mean, there's over here, there's the luxury side of things. There's kind of loads of embellishments. It's all about kind of glitz and glamour and things. Obviously, that's not me. But equally, I'm not over here saying you should wrap in brown paper, you should only wrap in fabric, or you shouldn't bother wrapping. In between, really. We want things to look good and enticing.
Well, it's part of the joy of gift giving, isn't it? It's like in my family, I'm well known, definitely before children. The last few Christmases have been a little bit more haphazard with the wrapping than they normally would have been, but I'm quite well known for my elaborate wrapping, and that I always have like a theme, and I do big bows, and I learned at a very young age of getting the scissors and doing all doing all the curly bows and all that, and I enjoy it. And it was a real part of my Christmas kind of regimen to have a day that I sat down, I put on a movie, and I wrapped my Christmas presents, and I enjoy doing it. And it's such a joy and pleasure and time of the year for me. Same when it's a gift for a birthday. I love going and picking the gift and how I'm going to wrap it. And sometimes when it is a gift, say you're going to buy a candle, sometimes it's about how that candle is presented, not the actual candle itself.
Yeah.
So it's about that gift giving, and you do want the person to receive it who feel like they've been treated, feel that it's something special, because you're showing them that you think they are special. It's a way of showing our love. It's a love language almost.
Yes.
So it's so lovely that can be focused on. But as with anything, there is things we have to learn from a sustainability point of view, and we can't just be doing more and more and more on everything. I had Alex Stanley on. Her podcast episode came out a couple of weeks ago, and she does style and colour on all the things, and growing your confidence with style. And a huge part of what she does is sustainability, and looking at your clothes and wearing your wardrobe and getting more out of your wardrobe. So it's been really interesting. It's kind of been in my mind, this sustainability. And she said exactly the same as you. It's about the small changes that you can make. It's not about don't ever go and buy wrapping paper again. It's not about don't ever use that thing. And if you have it in your house, then use it.
Yeah.
If you have a plastic bag, use it. And it's so what are the what's the themes, what's the trends at the moment that kind of people could be looking for? Or if somebody's sitting listening to this and thinking, oh my goodness, I need to wrap for my child's birthday this weekend, what should I be thinking about, or what should I be doing?
Well, in terms of sustainability,
Yeah.
So the big thing that I always talk about is what tape are you using to wrap your gifts. So you might have thought about the kind of paper that you're using, and the high street, I think, probably due to consumer pressure, as the high street actually has got a lot better at offering
Recycled paper.
that either recycled paper or paper that can be recycled. so it doesn't have like a coating or like glitter or that or embellishments on it. But actually also think about the kind of tape that you're using, because you sort of traditional clear tape is made from plastic. So actually you can be
I wouldn't have thought
using,
about that.
yeah, so actually you can be using paper that's recyclable, but actually if you put a lot of tape on it, it probably won't go through the recycling process. So the
I put
techniques
a
and things,
lot of tape on my presents. I put a lot of tape.
yeah, so the techniques I try and show people use really very little tape or sometimes no tape. But if you are going to if there's one thing that I would suggest that you think about doing, that is to swap to paper tape rather than clear tape. And actually, that can actually be a feature of your gift. You don't have to use plain brown tape. There are lots of different options which have got different designs on them. You can
I
get
mean,
them.
I've seen like the
Yeah.
tapes and I've used tapes. I've even used tapes in the house, to
Yes.
put pictures up and
Yeah.
make it decorative and things. But I hadn't thought properly about the fact that using sellotape, I'll say the
Yeah.
brand name, even though that's not the thing,
Yeah.
but it's like Hoover, isn't it?
Yeah. It definitely
I
is.
hadn't thought about using that it wouldn't go through the recycling process. So even though I recycle, something I try and be quite
Yeah.
fastidious about, but I hadn't thought that the amount of tape that I would use, and I do use a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, it's about like ideally using less tape or no tape, and yeah, think about switching to paper tape.
So you're talking about folding techniques of
Yes.
paper.
Yeah, folding techniques. Just really like, so the basic 4 techniques that I do a Christmas wrapping boot camp, but which contains like the 4 techniques that you can basically use to wrap almost any gift. And in there, I sort of, for example, like just how to wrap a box in a way that really just uses as little paper as possible and minimal amount of tape. You don't need to know too much to just start using less paper.
Hmm. So So in terms of if people are coming to your business, and all your links and things will be in show notes so people can come
Yeah,
and find you, because I think it's truly fascinating to watch and I
thank
have
you.
watched a few of your videos and things. What does it look like working with you? How does your business work? How do you work with people?
Yes, so I help you if you want to learn to wrap for yourself and your own gifts. And I can also help you if you've got a small business where you sell products like skincare or books or
Share.
candles, that kind of thing. I can help you learn to wrap so that you can incorporate wrapping into your business. But either way, you can work with me either in person or online. I'm based in Wiltshire, so I know that lots of people listening to this probably aren't nearby. So actually working with me online is probably an easier way.
Mm-hmm.
So I run a masterclass every single month, and it's part of my membership of Greener Gifting Gang. But you can just come to classes just as a one-off
Yeah.
if you prefer. What people really like is the fact that the videos are always recorded, because with something like wrapping, yes, you can come to something live and you can have a go and wrap along and ask me questions. But actually, mostly people want to pause and rewind and practice things, and that's the real benefit. So if you come and work with me online, you'll get video recordings so you can practice what you've learned as well.
Well, I think that's a good thing, because it means you've got that reference point to come back to, because
Mm.
quite often with learning new skills and new techniques and new way to do things, it's you need that repetition, you need that. And
Yeah,
there might be a part of your year where all your birthdays and things are in one part of the year, so you're just wrapping and then you're like, oh, I've not tried that for a couple of months, I need to go back and do that. So
yeah,
that's such a good way of people getting into that. And I didn't think about the corporate angle. I didn't think about product-based businesses who need to know from a sustainability point of view, from using less tapes, from different ways that they can, and be creative. Because as a product-based business, you want, when people receive your product, again, for that experience, you want to have that experience where people feel that they're being looked after and it's a little bit special and it's something coming to them. You don't want to have this fantastic product that then falls through their door
yeah,
in a horrible box, horrible paper, and everything else, because you've tried to be eco-friendly but not thought about the experience. If I
mm,
spend money on something,
mm,
particularly if I feel it's a superior product, I want the whole experience of receiving it to be superior.
yeah. Exactly. I mean, there's so many ways that actually wrapping or how you package something can be incorporated into what you do. So I mostly work with businesses that are just, just one person, and they want to stand out. They want to do something a little bit different to maybe what their competitors are doing. Yeah, they want to add a bit of a wow factor. So it's not just necessarily about adding a gift wrapping service, although obviously that's one way to incorporate it. But it's what do you do as part of rewarding your customers? Can you give gifts as part of that? When lots of people will, you might and lots of my customers are and unsurprisingly people in the network marketing industry, because that's my background. So I've got lots of connections there. So perhaps they might sell a skincare product, and
Of course, it's up to them to
sample
package and send everything out to their.
they might be giving samples away or other things to say thank you for an order. You can add that level of mystery just by packaging up and wrapping it. So there's lots of ways that you can think about gifting within your business, not
It's
just
so important for customer experience. It is, in a noisy marketplace, in a place where people are expecting things to be better and better and better, and you have to differentiate yourself in lots of different ways. The customer experience is so important, and you have to make sure that after that transactional sale that you are still delivering on every level, and not just the thing that they've bought, but keeping them in your world, making sure they feel seen and heard, and they feel, when they hear your brand name, that they feel lovely and appreciated. And it's all those elements that, if something, as I say, if something just fell through your letterbox and you're just like, that is just not what I was expecting. I've spent this money, or I'm part of this subscription, or whatever it may be. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. And then all of a sudden you've lost them. And that split second of them receiving that parcel, you have lost them.
yeah.
So it's so important. And the more beautiful things are, people love beautiful things.
Yeah.
And it's all about that customer experience.
Yeah, so it's I don't think when I wrote that in my record of achievement, I want to run my own business. I don't know if I thought this is what it would be like, but here I am. And I think I kind of am proof that you can create a business out of something that you personally love yourself, and anything can be a business if you think about it and work out who your customer is and how you're going to market it.
Well, that's it. Anything can be a business if you can make it a business and you treat it like a business, and you look after your customer, know who your customer is, and see a need within a marketplace for it. And I think you have really done that. And when you all go and check out Eve, you will see that whenever you show up, you're showing up as that. There's no confusion. That's what you do. That's your passion. That's your belief. And it's so lovely to see you popping up in business communities and talking about that, because I think it's so important that people, it goes back to that belief that we talked about, the opportunity that network marketing and different things can give, but that belief that we can have a business, we deserve to do these things, and it ultimately can be something that I love. It doesn't need to be what people think traditional business is.
Yes, that's really interesting. Being a business owner, it's a roller coaster, isn't it? A roller coaster of doubt. Do I really want to be doing this? Should I just go and do something else that everybody else is doing? I have had people ask me, "How are you making money out of this? How are you doing it? How are you making this a business?" But that, sometimes you do think, well, actually, shall I go and do what everybody else is doing, because that seems like the path to go down. But no, I'm not going to do that.
It wouldn't bring you half as much joy as what you're doing. And to answer the people of how much money do you make in this, you just say, enough for me, thank you very much. And I'm just getting started. You worry about your bills, I'll worry about mine. But I do. And it is, if anybody's out there thinking, I love doing this thing, but how could I ever make a business out of it? Sit down, come up with a plan, and make a business out of it. Because if you love it, there's somebody else out there that will love it too.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, as you know, I have 3 questions Well, I actually have 4 because I ask you one right at the end. But there's 3 that I ask people to get prepared and get ready for us to talk about. And that's our 3 joy questions. So we'll start with the joy spotlight. And that is the one where it's a favourite thing that has shaped your life, business, or work.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to talk about something. I think that it's a kind of habit, that's something that's kind of always been there, that I just feel like it brings me joy, it settled me. Yeah, there's so many benefits of it, and that is just going for a walk. And it's surprising how something so simple can just be like a real leveler, I think, for your mind, for your body. There's so many things, so many benefits of walking. So yeah, whenever I kind of really need to reset or be in the right frame of mind, I go for a walk.
When I read this, I kind of gave myself a kick up the bottom because I haven't been doing it. And last year, it was a huge part of my day. And it would either be scheduled in that that's the time I was going to go and do it, or it would be sitting at the desk and I'd be like, right, at some point today, I'm going to stare at a screen and I'll start procrastinating, or I'll start doing something I shouldn't be doing. And that's the minute I need to go out for a walk.
Yeah,
I just need to go out, and it settles my mind. Like you say, it gets fresh air, gets the body moving, the body going, and then you can come back and actually you're so much more productive for taking that 10, 20, 30, 60 minutes, however long you went out for. And you're so much more productive. By the end of the day, you'll probably have more done than what you would have done if you just sat at your desk and tried to keep going. But I've not been very good through the bad weather.
yeah,
I have been particularly bad at it through the bad weather, and not just thinking, oh, it's stopped raining, I'm going to go and do it now.
yeah,
Which I'm definitely going to make sure that I do, because it makes the biggest difference. And for me,
definitely.
my habit has to be no earphones, no listening to something, no doing. I have a dog, so the dog comes with me, and I just walk.
Yeah, that that's very good. I definitely don't walk in silence enough. I'm often catching up on, lives or podcasts or audiobooks or whatever,
Hmm.
multitasking. But I went for a walk this morning. Whenever I can, I walk instead of using the car. It's not
Hmm.
always an option. But today I was volunteering somewhere and I could go and I could walk there. So my ritual is, when I'm doing this volunteering, I walk there and I walk back. And I nearly ran out of time today, but I still did the walk. I just walked really fast. So on the way there, I was listening to my podcast, and on the way back, I actually decided not to listen to anything.
Well, it has really helped me because I'm multitasking has just become a default
Yeah,
position for me to be in. And sometimes I need to stop, and I'm really trying to lean in to stopping and stopping the mind. And not that having no sound, but my mind's definitely quieter because I'm out walking and I notice different things. But that's when I just go for a walk, or to walk the dog. But I'd got into a habit where it's a rule in our house that if my partner is working from home, he does the nursery runs so that I get a longer work day.
mm-hmm.
So that's the rule in our house. But he started working away again yesterday, so I had to do the nursery runs, but I walked and did the nursery runs. And then after dropping them off, the dog needed the walk, so decent weather, so I just carried on walking. And I think it's the first time this year I've done it. And I
Yeah,
was like, my goodness, that felt so much better. And then when
yeah.
I read your answer, I was like, right, okay, the universe is obviously trying to tell me something to make sure that I get out, because it does. And I feel so much better if I've been anxious or tired. And as you know, my little ones are still little, so we still have lots of sleepless nights. And even on those days, in fact, more importantly on those days, to get out and walk is so, because I get energy from it. Yes, I'll come back tired and everything else, but I get energy from it. I feel better. My skin looks better. Everything.
So many reasons. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a big fan of walking,
Yeah,
definitely.
I love that. And I love the fact that obviously we've said multitasking, we sometimes need to get away from it, but we can habit stack. So you have to get to your volunteering. So you walk and do it, and you want to listen to a podcast. So you do it while you're doing it. And perhaps if I commuted like that, then that's exactly when I would listen to my podcasts and things, because I'm obsessed with podcasts, which is handy doing a podcast. And the second one is you're inspired by joy. So that's a book or a mentor who shaped your life, inspired you.
Yeah, so this is an audiobook that I've listened to relatively well in the last, I think it's about, yeah, no, maybe it's about a year, more than a year ago since I listened to it. But it's called Life in Five Senses by Gretchen Rubin. And I also do listen to her podcast, um, which is called Happier. And the book is just real joy to listen to. I don't tend to listen to audiobooks, fiction audiobooks, but I do listen to a lot of non-fiction. But this book is written in a way where she tells you stories to illustrate her points, and it's a lovely listen. And it's all about her year experiencing or focusing in on the different senses and doing she did different sort of experiments for focusing in on different ways of boosting how she used the different senses, and perhaps there's one sense that you use less of than another.
Mm-hmm.
And she came up with different ways to help her learn to use them differently. And it was just a really, really fascinating and joyful listen, and just gave me really different ways of thinking about things. And one of the things on her podcast is she talks about going on small adventures and big adventures, and doing some things you can do over and over again. And actually, there's a joy in doing things over and over again, the same.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things she talks about, I actually was doing already, but I really noticed what it was, which is going on the same walk, but noticing the different seasons, for example, or the different things that are happening on that day on that same walk, and just really being mindful of the sounds and the smells and the things that you see on that walk. And I think what we were just saying before about multitasking, and we're busy juggling family life, work, all sorts of things that are going on.
No.
And so some of the things in the book I just found were just really helpful to make you rethink actually about the multitasking. Well, there's a place for it and being efficient, but sometimes you just need to pause and look at things differently. So yeah,
No,
but
it
really,
is, and
really
it's that.
enjoying
I've had a few conversations recently about productivity, and some people are talking about toxic productivity. And I had a slight issue with the term toxic productivity because I need productivity in my life. I need to be productive. I need to get the most out of my days, and not just need, I want to get the most out of my days. I want to have a thriving, successful life. And for me right now, that is running a very young business that is trying to reach my ambitious goals that I have. And it's also looking after two children under 3. I keep saying under 3. She's going to be 4 in a few weeks. So 2 children under 4. My life is productive. It needs to be productive. There's no slowing down here right now, even no matter how hard I try. So but I want it to be productivity on my terms. Whereas I sometimes feel myself going into that multitask and that I have to constantly be doing, and allowing myself to see the walk as a productive use of my time, because it 100% is. Whereas Diane 2 years ago would be like, well, I just don't have time for a walk.
Yeah.
But it's going to bring you this, yeah, but that's not going to do that. Whereas now I know that is a huge part of me being successful, is
Yeah, I
going
think
on that walk.
Yeah, and I think there are ways of scratching that itch about making it feel productive. So I use an app where I track my walking and my running and my exercise. So you can
But it's
tell what kind of person
gamification,
I
isn't
am.
it?
I love to tick something off. I love to get a streak or whatever. So going on my walk is mindful, but it's also productive too, because I get to tick it off on the app.
But this is it, and this is why these things work, because ultimately we are all children who just want to be congratulated that we've done something good. It's why we all wear these watches,
Yeah,
and it is that thing. But we can celebrate that, and we can say that I need that and I understand that, and that's my thing about the toxic productivity, because it's just like, no, I want to be productive, but I get it, because I think there's people who are on treadmills and are trying to do too much. And I think the whole point about being strategic is awareness of your life and what you want to be. And what I love about that book, which I haven't read, which it's on my list now,
yeah.
because I really like what you've said about it, is that it's that awareness. So you've done this walk every single day, but are you aware that time is passing, seasons are changing? Have you noticed that the birds have changed that you've seen every day? Or, and I think that's really important, because a huge part of how I work with my clients is the first conversations we have is they need awareness of where they are.
Yes.
Well, they need awareness of life right now before they can make any changes in their business or whatever their goals are. And I just think that's really important. And I love the fact that coming from those senses, because I think too often we take for granted our senses and what we can see and what we hear, and whereas if what the slowing down we can have
Yeah.
is to be in the present and do that. But being in the present doesn't take away the productivity, which
Yes.
I like.
Yeah.
So yes, that is definitely getting added to my list. And then we've got the joy killer. And that is the thing that you would like to see banished from the world. And this one's going to be really interesting to see where we take this conversation. Tell us, what is it?
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether I could actually ever do this, but I said no Wi-Fi at weekends. I'd like to ban Wi-Fi at weekends. Now, we all use, I don't know if it's actually ever possible to do this, because we just rely on technology and Wi-Fi just, so much, don't we? For so many things, even our entertainment, you need the Wi-Fi for, don't you?
Well,
But
even our TVs, that's what I was thinking. I was like, no,
can't even watch
no
the TV.
Saturday night telly.
I know. It's okay. Maybe it's a little dramatic. I don't know.
But
But
tell
I
us the
suppose,
reasons why.
yeah, the reason why is that, I mean, we all find it really, really hard to switch off and be away from technology. And there's so many benefits. But actually, I know that my family and we all do benefit from when we're away from the screen and from the technology. We all need a break. What I was kind of thinking is, when there's a power cut and you can't do anything,
Yes.
and that means that you have to do all these things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it's not the same, but when it was lockdown and you couldn't go out, you made the best of it and you,
Yeah.
you did things differently. So I was just thinking it would be really helpful if someone else could ban it, please.
So your children don't think that it's you.
Yeah, if someone else could just tell me that Wi-Fi banned at the weekend, then we would all get on with it and we would just do something different.
I think it's that awareness thing again. And I think it's making sure that you do things. So something that we do as a family is we make sure that we get outside at the weekend, even if it's only once, even if it's a super busy weekend, which sometimes it can be, even with mine being so young. But we just make sure there's that element of being outside. And even though my children are so young, I am going to be, and people can come and shame me if they like, my children both have tablets. And the reason they have tablets is we go long journeys often, so they have them in the car. And there's some educational stuff on there. And sometimes I just need them to have the tablets. It's good for everybody. But we have to make sure that we're aware of when they're using them and how often they're on them and what they're doing on them and all the other things that come into that. And I always said, I had this conversation actually with my mum, and I said, the minute that if they're doing something on the tablet and I say, do you want to go for a walk or do you want to go and play outside? And they say no, that's the minute that the tablets won't be in our house for very much longer, because right now they will do anything. If I said, do you want to paint? Do you want to colour in? Do you want to play with your dolls? Do you want to go outside? They will always pick those other things.
Yeah.
But then sometimes they just want quiet time, the same as the rest of us. And they're not at an age they can pick up a book, that they go and do that. So I think, like you say, there's a place for everything, but I just think we need to be aware. And I also, me and my partner have had this conversation because the conversation came up about children using tablets and phones and things like that. I said, but we need to be mindful too. We can't be telling them one thing and then they turn around and we're sitting scrolling on our phone.
Yeah.
And we can't say one thing and then that's how we spend our time and we're not getting outside. They have to see it that this is a decision we do as a family. And this is what we're going to do. And, we're sitting having dinner tonight at a table and there's no screens and, we eat together and we talk. And yes, you might be 3 and 2, but we're going to make, the most of this, and that's going to become a habit in our house.
Yeah.
So I totally get the premise and where it comes from. And there is nothing You know, it is that romantic thing of when you have a power cut. So if it could be a power cut without being a power cut,
Yeah.
and you have to play board games and light candles and do those things, but without it being like a danger,
Yes,
then
that would be
that
great.
would.
As long as it was warm,
There's also, and if it could be in
Lovely.
July in France, then that would be. But I do think it is, you know, we become so reliant on it, and it's sometimes a shame that the thought of us not to be reliant would be that enforced
Yeah.
thing. But I think, yeah, I definitely agree with you that an awareness of what we're doing and how reliant we are. And right now, the person who would freak out most about not having Wi-Fi would be me and our family. So I would be the terrible teenager that would be stomping up and down. So yeah, that would be. But it's just so interesting to think, and what would happen if we didn't have Wi-Fi? How cut off we would feel.
Yeah.
Whereas not that long ago, you know, I remember dial-up. You know, I remember that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, you know, and the bing, 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 trying to get onto the internet and everything. So it's not that long ago that we had a life completely
Oh,
without it.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm old enough to remember pre-dial-up and no
Yeah.
internet and writing letters and going to university, even though there was internet, but we wrote letters to each other.
Yeah, we did. I did too. My first year,
Yeah.
my first university essay, and I was doing an English degree, was handwritten.
Yeah.
It very quickly changed within a month to going to the computer labs and writing on there. But yes, it was a handwritten essay. And now that we've told everybody how old we are, where can people come and find you, Eve, if they want to come and find all about you?
Yeah, so on social media, you can find me. I'm at Gift Wrapped by Eve, and my website is giftwrappedbyeve.com. And there are lots of freebies on there to help you get started with your eco gift wrapping journey. So do go and check them out. Thank
And you
you.
definitely should. If you love giving gifts, you love wrapping things, or you just want to be a bit better at it when it comes around to Christmas, go and have a look. So, the last question that I ask everybody before they leave is, what joy do you want to leave behind? What will be your joy legacy?
Do you know, one of the things I think is that I often hear, especially at Christmas, people say that they don't enjoy wrapping gifts. And there's quite often a lot of perhaps a feeling of stress around choosing gifts and wrapping them up and giving them to people. So I would like to leave, I really want to help as many people as possible feel more joyful about it. So that is what I would like to leave behind.
I love that, because it should be joyful, and giving gifts should be a lovely time. And the more we can enjoy these times that we're so lucky to have, then I think can only be an improvement to the world. And people should enjoy it. I love it. So I will definitely be. And this year I'm getting back to my Christmas Day wrapping is what I'm going to do. Somebody can take the children. It has been a little bit more ad hoc the last few years, but yeah, that will be my plan. So I will be coming for all the tips. Thank you so much for joining me today, Eve. It has been lovely to hear about building a business out of passion, and I think it's something everybody could learn from.
Thank you
Thank you.
for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Eve as much as I did, and I think you can say that you've been pleasantly surprised about learning from a business about gift wrapping. Eve's journey is a reminder that even the smallest details, like how we wrap a gift, can have a big impact. Whether it's sustainability, customer experience, or just finding joy in the little things, her insights are ones we can all take into our businesses and lives. My 3 biggest takeaways start with sustainability matters. Even in something as simple as gift wrapping, small choices add up to a bigger impact. And when it comes to sustainability, it is quite often those small choices that we can make that will have the bigger impact to our society, our community, and globally, if we all just did that 1%. Number 2, your customer's experience is everything. You don't need to tell me this one, and it's the thoughtful details that make people feel part of something, and it's those thoughtful details that create lasting connections. And I'd like you to think about what thoughtful details that you could put into your business today. And lastly, that mindfulness isn't just for meditation. Slowing down and being intentional, whether in business or gift giving or in your life in an everyday way, makes all the difference. If you love this conversation, don't forget to follow, like, and share the Joy Work Show. And if you haven't yet hit that follow button, why not? You'll never miss an episode, and you help us find more listeners, more business owners just like you who want to keep finding the next joy in their business and their life. Until next time, keep finding joy in the work you do, and I'll see you soon.